Hey friend, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to teach you how to think like a data scientist. This video was inspired by a book that I read from Brian Godsey called Think Like a Data Scientist, where he shares a lot of amazing tips on how to not just think about the technicalities of being a data scientist, but also think about the other soft skills and the things that really drive business revenue, make you more memorable as a data scientist. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you the 7 key takeaways from the book Think Like a Data Scientist from Brian Godsey. Number 1, data science is more than math. Of course, we use math and code as tools, but always remember to tie them to real-world problematics, because mathematics are good, but if we stay just in the realm of theory and not in the application where we apply what we learn theoretically, then we don't generate any business revenue and business growth. And usually as data scientists, you should have that thing in mind where you always think of how can you benefit your client, the business, yourself if you work for projects for yourself. Always thinking of what's the outcome instead of thinking more about what are the tools. So always read and go educate yourself around the specific industry you're working on, because it will help you find the right approach to solve a specific problem, knowing in mind already what is the thing that you're looking for and how you can really drive that business value and business revenue. Number 2 is ask the right questions. I used to overlook this one a little bit when I started. I used to jump directly into the project and then I was figuring things out. Whilst I could have asked a few questions and it would have saved me so much pain and time lost in just trying to figure out things, whilst I could have just asked some of my colleagues, my superior, and they could guide me exactly on what I needed. So remember to always ask questions beforehand and keep asking them along the way. Always think about what you need to know and which data can help you generate the output that you're looking for. Always start with a clear question that will steer all your analysis. The better you define your questions and the better hypothesis you can make from it, and the better your analysis can be. You can't just go about guessing and doing analysis randomly. It's always best to have a think, ask the right questions, and base the analysis to answer those questions. Number 3 is clean and prepare data. As a data scientist, I know how much this takes time, and usually if you ask a lot of data scientists, they will tell you that they spend a lot of time figuring out things, cleaning out the data, trying to find missing values or updating some columns or trying to do some merges and just experimenting and exploring what's going on in the data. Sometimes you get data sets from different formats, from different sources. You have to bring them in one place. You need to make sure they're all structured and ready to use. And sometimes it's not as straightforward as having a few CSV files or Excel files and just bringing them together, but you get some API data from, or you can get some CSV files, some JSON files, depending from where you get the information. So just make sure that this part of the process, you don't overlook it, because it's really something that data scientists spend a lot of time on. So it's best for you to be able to do it. You can work step by step. You can check, clean, and then verify the data in order for you to then analyze it and do a bunch of things with it. If you have a huge data set, just try on a small data set to see if everything works well, and then you can bring all the rest of the data. Number 4 is test different methods. We sometimes focus too much on the things that we know already because we think that they work and we keep on repeating them. But just remember that tools, libraries, these are things that are evolving, and just be open to experimenting and trying new things. Nowadays in the technology overall, we have a lot of things coming out every day, a lot of things that solve previous problems. So it's always worth looking at those new technologies and just giving them a try. Maybe something that used to take you a few hours to do, nowadays you have some libraries that can do it within minutes. And for example, you had some sort of approach that had the processing that used to take you longer. Maybe there is one nowadays that can help you do some parallel processing and maybe speed up the time it takes you to run a few million rows of your data set, for example. And always remember to have a place where you keep notes of things that work, things that didn't work. It will help you come back to it and update them over time. And it's always a good reminder for you to go back to your notes so that you can see all the progress, things that worked, things that didn't, so that you keep improving over time. Even though you think that you can remember everything, but you quickly know and notice that it's not true, it's best to take notes of things. You might use them afterwards. If you're enjoying the video, remember to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Your support means a lot to me. Thank you for watching and thank you for doing it. Number 5 is explain your results clearly. This is one that I learned over my career so far. I used to make reports with 25 pages long, adding code in it, adding a bunch of visuals that didn't make any sense, just because I thought that it's best to put more than making it concise. But I quickly learned, just by having one conversation with a client, a CEO of a big company in London, that told me that I don't care about your 25 pages report. This all could have fit in 2 pages maximum. And I learned a very valuable lesson from that, because when you speak to a CEO, it's not the same as you speak to a technical partner, for example, a senior data scientist, or you speak to a friend. You'll have to report your findings differently based on the persona you speak to. So always remember, keep things concise and straight to the point. If you speak to a more technical person that wants more details, then you can include more details. If you speak to stakeholders or someone high in the company, they just want the findings with a few visuals here and there. They don't want a 25 pages report. Depending on the context, but usually they just want something summarized directly to the point. Number 6 is focus on real problems. A lot of people, especially that just start out as data scientists, they end up focusing more on projects, side projects, things that we find on the internet, but they forget that the work that they do should have an impact on the business they operate in. So having that business thinking, business mindset from the beginning is very valuable. And I say that not just lightly. These days we have a lot of AI tools that can perform a lot of coding, that can do some amazing stuff, and it will only keep improving. But the way you approach a problematic, the way you want to use those tools, the way you want to benefit the business with your work, this is completely up to you and your creativity, and also your understanding of how to deliver value. So these things are very important. Don't just stay stuck in the technicalities, but be someone that delivers value for the business, and that's why you're gonna be paid for, and you will keep increasing your salary and your revenue. Number 7, work well with others. You will need to learn how to work with others, and it can be as simple as sharing some code together, commenting on your code, communicating regularly with your team, keeping some documentation clean. All these things are very valuable when you work within a team. It's important to learn how to communicate with your team and still being able to trust other people's output and put yourself in a situation where you're an important player within an environment and within a team. If you're interested in how to master the 7 essential skills for data scientists, I made a video recently. I'll link it just here or in the description below for you to go and watch it. And thank you again, and see you in the next one.